Welcome, and we are
Hello.
live. We are having some fun here. We are testing some stuff out as always, seeing what we can break. I've got a great setup going on in front of myself. I'm here with my main man, Ralph, and on my left here, I've got my iPad so I can watch myself, which is actually quite fun. So if you see me looking this way, it's because I'm looking at my iPad and seeing what's actually going on with that live view
It's
on
all
the Facebook
vanity.
side.
It's
It
all
is. It
vanity.
is.
Jim just
Uh,
likes to watch himself in any way, shape. He walks around with a mirror at all times, just like smiling, going, "Yeah,
That's very true. When you're as handsome as I am, Ralph, you just
fair,
got to do those things.
fair." It kind of reminds me. I mean, talking about retro. Remember, like the 1980s, Morris Day and the Time. How Morris would have Jerome come up with the mirror, and he'd check him right in the middle of a show. Jerome would be the mirror up, and Morris would check his hair, and then turn around and do the bird or whatever. It's the same thing. I am basically Jerome to Jim's Morris Day. I just walk around with the mirror, and I'm his hype man.
So I appreciate that. So first off, as we've already gotten so involved here, I'm Jim. You're probably watching this because it's streaming on all of my channels currently. Ralph is going to have to repost this, and we're going to have to figure out how we can stream it to both places at once, which will be a little bit more fun. Coming in the future, we're actually going to add our own channels for this. This is titled Return from the Revenge, a Fandom Story. This is going to be a podcast that me and Ralph do on a weekly basis where we just talk about random nerdy fandom things, whether that be Star Wars or video games or movies. Star Wars is a movie too.
It is.
TV shows. It's just everything that we enjoy. These episodes are going to range from somewhere between 25 and 2.5 hours, depending on our mood. So that's a little bit about what we're doing today. Today's kind of our kickoff for it. And I'm going to turn it over to Ralph to tell what he believes we're actually going to do, and then go from there.
Yes, everything that Jim said. Yeah, really excited about this. When Jim and I met several months ago, we realized we had a lot of similar interests and likes. And I think one of the funnest things was we actually had a lot of similar interests and likes, but we also disagreed on things. But we've had really, really great conversations about those things offline. And we thought, well, this is kind of interesting because we're both approaching our fandoms from completely different perspectives, but we both love the same things. And I think we both desire the things that we love to be really good. And so we talk about that a lot. And you're right. Our topics, a lot of times we'll start talking about one topic and it'll cascade into another topic where we're talking about one thing. And then all of a sudden we go into, say we're talking about one specific video game that's coming out in a couple of months. And it ends up going into an entire conversation about video games in general and what video games we're comfortable introducing our kids to and all of this. And we're like, wait, what were we talking about at the beginning? I don't even know. Okay, anyway, great talk about video games. Have a great day. So it's really fun. It's a really fun journey. We're really excited to bring you along on this journey and to interact with us because we'd love to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah. No, great recap. You're right. There are many times where we just start talking and we rabbit hole and we're like, all right, we should end. And then 45 minutes later, we're like, all right, now we are really going to end. We've recorded so far, I think 4 to 6 episodes, somewhere right in there, that we're going to play on Wednesdays are going to be our release days for those. So that's going to come out here maybe this Wednesday, maybe next Wednesday. We'll see. We're kind of filling that piece out. And it's going to be a podcast. So we're going to post links to the podcast. We're also going to do a video piece of it just because we like to look at ourselves. And Ralph makes the jokes that he's holding the mirror for me, but in reality, we all know that Ralph is looking at himself. He's like, God, look good today, popping the collar. He's just he's got it. He's got it going on.
Wearing my Get Plowed hoodie. I'm repping. It's good stuff.
I love being able to see the viewer count on this as well. And I know it's delayed because I've been watching since the beginning and it didn't show up until quite a ways later.
Yeah.
So we are using
Restream.
Yes. Restream. And we're in their Pro Studio right now doing this. So Ralph's actually down at our filming center here, and in the studio and I'm up in a conference room and I got my whole setup going on here. Because we do this as well for the owner of the company. He does live events every Tuesday at 9 a.m. on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and
YouTube,
on his YouTube channel
and Twitter,
right? So this is a lot of this. What we do here is we do want to have fun. We love what we do in marketing and in IT and in those realms, but we also want to talk about what we're passionate about in our video games and our fandom. And so we utilize this as our platform to be able to then turn around and test these things that break all the time, right?
Sure.
I'll give the example this morning. I'm at the car dealerships getting rid of my car that broke down, and Ralph's like, "Jim, it's broken. It's not working.
Help!
Help!"
I believe my exact words were, all caps, help, exclamation point, because we were like 10 minutes late to starting it, and I could not get it to log in. And he just finally said, just use Restream. Just send him the Restream link. And we did it.
Troubleshoot on the fly.
You did, and it worked great. So far really impressed with Restream's platform and their capabilities. So excited to kind of dive deeper in to the ability to brand things as we go and brand the show, and who knows, bring other guests in, all kinds of sort of stuff. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So yeah, like it.
It's fun, right? Like ultimately,
exactly.
Our job. We love our job. We love what we do. We love to have fun. We love these topics. And so today we're going to kick off with a topic of what is your favorite movie of all time? No, well, maybe. Yeah, favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
This is on the fly. I just came up. I don't even know my answer.
Okay, mine is actually pretty easy. Mine is actually, it's a lot of times when I tell people, they're like, "Oh, that's your favorite movie," but I because it's a really heavy subject and topic, but the way the film was executed it's one of those films that has stuck with me for close to 30 years now, and that film is Steven Spielberg's Schindler's List. The first time I saw that film, I saw it in a theater, a packed theater, the weekend it came out. And it's a really rare thing to walk out of a movie where everyone is totally silent. It felt like a reverent moment, a moment of introspection, a moment of where everyone was just really inner thinking about everything. He did such an incredible job telling such a difficult and challenging story and a real dark time in our Earth's history with the Holocaust. But it was done in such a way that was done so respectfully but yet so brutally, because of saying, hey, this happened. This is important. This is important that we don't sugarcoat it or Hollywoodify it or anything like that. I know it's a strange film to be your favorite film, but I look deeper to one that just has stuck with me all of these years, and I'll never forget that movie going experience my entire life. And it's one that, just to remind myself and check myself about whatever else is going on in the world. I do not get political. I do not like to get political at all. So that has nothing to do with it. But just to remind myself, hey, that this thing happened. And it's important to remember. So, yeah. So that's mine. How about you?
Whew. Follow a deep one.
I'm sorry.
It's good. I knew what you were going to say, right? Because we've had this conversation before. It's hard for me to pick one movie.
Sure.
Growing up, there was just so many different movies that impacted me and I loved and I watched. I mean, part of me it's funny because I watched them so many times, they just become part of who you are, right? One of those is like The Godfather, right? So like, I love The Godfather. I've watched The Godfather, and not that I loved The Godfather when I watched it,
Yeah.
But I watched The Godfather so many times because my younger brother watched it like religiously, and my older brother watched it religiously, and my dad watched it all the time. And so I think when I think back to and I think about how it was filmed, and I think about the score, and I think about all of the lines and what that movie has.
Yeah.
I think for me, that's one of my all-time favorite movies. And so I'm probably going to go with The Godfather. And I love that even today, movies will pay homage to it.
All the time. Yeah.
I think about the Disney movie with the little bunny cop, Zootopia, right?
Yes.
Where they have the Don, and he's like, "You will sleep with the fishes," and he's this little tiny guy, like this big, and he runs the mafia for all of the
all Zootopia.
All Zootopia. But it ties back into how great of a movie Francis Ford Coppola put together.
Yeah, and it's immediately recognizable. When an homage is paid to it, it's immediately recognizable. You go, that's for The Godfather. Even people who have an ancillary, they've never watched the whole movie, just kind of an ancillary understanding that there's a movie that The Godfather exists. They see that, they're watching it, and they see the little mouse thing come up, and they're like, "That's The Godfather." That's how recognizable it is. So talk about a film that was has stuck with all this time, and people still go back to and talk about. And it's definitely one of Coppola's greatest films, and it really is one of the greatest films of all time ever, hands down. Godfather is actually in my top 10. I always joke that my number one has not changed in 30 years, but my 2 through 10 are constantly doing this, depending on, I don't know how you are about lists, Jim, but at least for me, it depends on my mood. Some days number 2 would be this, and some days number 2 will be down here, and some days because it'll just be kind of how am I feeling today? But my number one at least hasn't changed in a long time.
Well, and as you get older, right, the type of movie you like and the type of things that you watch starts to shift a little bit. So we're gonna have one more question.
Okay.
And then I'll let you ask a question if you want to.
Okay.
We're at 12 minutes. We should probably keep this about 20 if we can.
Perfect. Somebody in the chat, by the way, mentioned Rush Hour, which is always also a great movie. So Abiel said Rush Hour, and I think that's a great film. That's fun.
Nice. Rush Hour is a great film.
It is a great film. It's really good.
I was watching, not to sidebar our whole conversation here, but I was watching that a couple weeks ago. I was like, "Oh, let's start," and I didn't make it all the way through, but I was like, I love those movies.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Okay. Favorite Star Wars, because we have to go there, right?
Okay.
And we do talk about this more in depth. There's no why to this one. Just favorite Star Wars movie.
Rogue One. Absolutely. It is
favorite Star Wars original trilogy, post trilogy, pre trilogy.
Empire Strikes Back.
And now we have outside the trilogy.
Yes. Okay. Empire Strikes Back and Rogue One. So
okay.
Yeah.
Empire. What about post trilogy?
Post trilogy. Movie post trilogy? There hasn't
movie post trilogy. Only movie. There's only 3.
So there's Rogue One. That's
no outside of, only inside of the Skywalker saga.
Okay, inside the
pre-trilogy. So Anakin's story.
Okay.
The trilogy, because that's you have to pick one for me. Trilogy. Okay. 4, 5, 6, or as I like to call them, 1, 2, 3, and then post. So Rey's story.
Okay. So pre-trilogy, Revenge of the Sith. Mainly because Ian McDiarmid steals the show, and have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? That scene! Be our intro. That scene alone, the Darth Plagueis the Wise. Can
you do that with
No, I cannot do his voice. I wish.
No, you should keep doing that voice because that was awesome.
Oh, thank you. Trilogy, Empire Strikes Back, post trilogy. Here it comes. Last Jedi. I know. And then Rogue One. How about you? because we talk about this further in other things. So just
yes, we do. We've talked about it. It still irritates me. I know what you're gonna say already.
I know.
But I did throw the twist to make you choose one of each segment.
Yeah, no, I think that was good. That was fun.
All right, outside of the saga, I'm gonna go with the unpopular Solo.
Yeah, solid film.
I really enjoyed Solo. Solid film. Rogue One is fabulous. But I want to be a little bit different today and try to break the internet. So
hey, I said Last Jedi, so we're already going there, right?
Pre-trilogy, Revenge. All the way. Revenge of the Sith is by far the best movie in that. Even though they kill Samuel L. Jackson.
Or did they?
Shame on you. Shame on you, Lucas. Or did they? Yeah. Bring everybody back. We get it. Disney likes to do that.
In a world where Darth Maul still lived after he got cut in half, Samuel L. Jackson.
Then you might as well bring back Sam.
Mace Windu could still be alive.
Yeah, Mace should be alive. We all agree about that one. Okay.
Yes.
Post is going to be The Return of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker?
The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. Rise of Skywalker all the way. I can never remember the movie. I don't really like the final three. I've seen them maybe 3 times each, maybe 2 to 3 times. Different story, different day. That's why I can never remember the title of those ones, because I'm like, I can't even justify these movies as being alive. I do enjoy them. I enjoy all Star Wars movies, but as far as ranking, we know where those lie. The original trilogy. On a side note, I watched a really good homage to Obi-Wan Kenobi yesterday on TikTok, I think, or Instagram, one of the two. I'll send it to you. It was fabulous. It tied in all of it from the original all the way through the TV show with different lines. It was good. Nice. I was like, "Ooh, that was awesome!" It got me pumped to watch some Obi-Wan some more. I'm gonna say Return of the Jedi.
Okay, cool. The space battle on that one was great. I absolutely love the battle over Endor. That was, man, with Lando and Nub in the Millennium Falcon. It's a trap, that whole trying to remember back to the first time you saw it, where the Rebel fleet comes in and it cuts to it, it's swipe cuts to Luke on, in the throne room with the Emperor and Vader is like, your friends and run into a trap, and you're like, what? No, it's man, it's the tension. The climax of that film is terrific. Yeah,
and I love Ewoks.
Ewoks are great. I don't understand Ewok hate either. I love the Ewoks. I thought because I think there was such a good representation of that the rebels used what they had at their disposal. They were scrappy, they were underfunded. They were the underdog, and there's something kind of fun to that, of overtaking the Empire with what they had at their disposal, and regular folk rising up, so it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's fun. So, okay, let's see. Now,
for you, anything? What do you got?
Let's see. Okay, so it's interesting because Star Wars alone has been, other than the fact we're getting a new Mandalorian season of Mandalorian, I think in March-ish, and we got a new Bad Batch just started, which has been really fun. But the Star Wars universe has been a little bit quiet about what's coming next
because they can't push anything out.
So I know we've kind of talked about. Fair. I know we've kind of talked about this a little bit, but just for the viewers at home, what is something in the Star Wars universe you really, really, really wish would, an announcement that would get you so excited that goes into development and becomes the next movie? What would get you excited?
I want true Old Republic, Jedi versus Sith. I want Jedi battling the Sith. I don't necessarily want the Jedi fighting the Sith. I want the Jedi leading legions of troops. One commander is a Jedi, and he's more like the Clone Wars, right? But done better, where it's actually just battles, telling the story of the Sith and Jedi in the Old Republic and in that sort of realm, and not more of the what we currently have is a hope and a dream of so and so is going to direct a trilogy and it'll be Old Republic, right? And you're like, what's that gonna do? And you just don't know, right? So
yeah.
What about you?
I would say probably there's part of me that's kind of really enjoyed this, some of the things that the Mandalorian has been doing about filling in spaces in between. And I know that canon has been broken to some extent, but daggone it, I would love for them to take the Timothy Zahn books from like the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, I want Mara Jade. Yeah. I want that Zahn trilogy turned into a movie. I've always wanted that Zahn trilogy turned into.
You want a multiverse?
I want a multi. Yeah, I do. I want
the Star Wars multiverse.
I want Luke to get sucked into some sort of multiverse where because there was, that was in those what we as Star Wars fans call the Dark Ages. After Return of the Jedi, where there was just nothing. And Lucas had moved on. He was doing all kinds of other stuff and didn't really want to revisit Star Wars. And so those Heir to the Empire, and I mean, like those books, those Timothy Zahn books from the late 80s, early 90s, that trilogy still to me was such riveting storytelling and so wonderful. And if I had one other thing I think that would be cool, I know I'm throwing this in, is Thrawn. I really love the character of Thrawn, and I know Zahn has written a lot of books about him too. But I really like that character a lot, and some of the novelizations I've read and things like that, I want to dig deeper into that character. So that's
I would agree with Thrawn. I would also say, if I had to put in an honorable mention, I would say we should definitely visit Darth Bane and the Rule of Two, because I think the fall of the Sith Empire, it would be such an awesome place to go.
Goodness. Can you imagine?
And then really because that's what if we want to say what brings down, now this is canon. This is not canon anymore, right? Yeah. So, but what brings down the Jedi, right, is the Rule of Two. Yeah. Right. It is Darth Bane changing from the way the Old Republic was, where there was a huge council of Sith, and they had lost their ways, and very in line with the Knights of the Old Republic, where you have the Sith academies and all those things. Like he destroys all of that, and it's just I think that would make such an awesome story to dig into and create a whole universe around. Like, you could do 9 movies on that period and tie in what I said originally, the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Right. Where you could lead in 2 or 3 films into this, and then tail right into the fall of the Sith, into maybe even a Darth Plagueis movie, or into a Palpatine movie, or something where it ties right in. And what you've done then is you've connected this huge universe back into what it really was meant to be, and when Lucas allowed all these people to write these books.
Yeah. One other thing that I'm going to do is honorable mention, because it's TV based, and I posted this like a couple of years ago to the internet, and it was like one of those things that kind of took off like wildfire on Twitter several years ago. Is I posted, imagine this, Muppet Babies, but it's all creatures and monsters from the Star Wars universe. So it's like little Muppet Baby, like, Wampas, and little Muppet Baby, like Rancors, and like, and they're all in this like baby nursery together. And I don't know, I just think that would be. I mean, Disney owns Jim Henson Animation. Disney owns Star Wars. Can you imagine the synergy there of Muppet Babies, but make it Star Wars creatures? I just think it would be fun and adorable, and kids everywhere would be reintroduced to some of the all the little monsters and creatures from every single universe. I know that's a very unserious answer, but it would be fun.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Maybe. So
Maybe.
With that, Ralph, this is going to conclude Return from the Revenge, a fandom story about two middle-aged white guys that talk about absolutely nothing but everything all at the same time. I'm going to try a graphic to see if it has a countdown or not to end us, because we have to be on for an extra 20 seconds, I think.
Yes.
To make sure it doesn't air out in the stream. So we're going to pick a random one here that doesn't look like it has a countdown. I think the third one, maybe the sixth one looks kind of weird too. Let's click on this one and see what happens.
It's hard to tell. All right.